What's up, Crew W?
Hey everybody, we're back with another great story. This one is called The Enormous Yuca. And it's a Mexican retelling of a famous story. I think you'll know.
Hopefully you will. The Enormous Yuca.
All right, let me get to the first page and then Jamesy will start reading for us.
All right. Fernando had a fine ranch in Mexico, and on that ranch he kept a large, productive garden. In the spring, after the rains came, Fernando tilled
the garden,
and then he
hoed the rows and planted the vegetables.
And Fernando planted corn and beans. He planted squash and carrots. He planted potatoes and onions, and he planted his favorite vegetable of all,
the yuca.
I can't wait to see the results of my labor, Fernando said. Soon I will pull up a huge yuca root and boil it for dinner.
Fernando weeded his garden, he watered his garden, and he waited for the vegetables to grow.
So he really wants that yuca bad. All right, next page. One day when Fernando was in the garden, he noticed a yuca root sticking up from the ground, but this was no ordinary yuca.
Oh, look at what an old man like me can accomplish with hard work, said Fernando. I have grown an enormous yuca root. Now I will pull it.
And my wife and I will taste our first yuca of the season.
Fernando pulled at the huge root. He yanked, he heaved, but the root would not budge. Fernando strained and tugged, but he could not pull that enormous yuca out of the ground.
So, how do you say again? To pull this enormous yuca from the ground is an arduous task.
Oh, arduous.
Arduous, said Fernando, panting. I must call my wife for help. So Fernando's wife, Rosa, came to help, and together the two of them
pulled and heaved and strained and tugged, but still they could not yank the enormous yuca out of the ground.
Maybe I don't know.
It's too big.
Too big.
Too big.
Oh, Jesus.
Fernando called his grandson, who was playing nearby. Carlito, he called. Come and help us pull the yuca root out of the ground. Carlito came to help, and together they pulled and heaved and strained and tugged. But still, they could not pull that enormous yuca out of the ground.
Then Fernando called to his pig, who was lying in the mud. Pig, he cried, come and help us pull this big yuca root out of the ground.
Pig came... Oh, hold on. Here, I gotta move this over so you can see Pig.
There's Pig.
Pig came to help.
They pulled
and heaved and strained and tugged. But still, they could not pull the enormous yuca root out of the ground.
Just then, Fernando saw a mouse hiding under a leaf. He called to Mouse for help.
But Rosa said, if all of us can't pull up the yuca root together, how can one little mouse help us succeed?
But Fernando insisted that Mouse help too. So suddenly...
everyone, including little Mouse,
pulled on the yuca, and all of a sudden, BAP! The enormous yuca root popped right out of the ground.
Oh, that's good news. Now what are they going to do with that big thing?
When we work together...
we can get the job done, shouted Fernando as he wiped the sweat from his forehead.
Since the root was too big to carry to the kitchen, Fernando built a fire in the garden. Then he roasted the enormous yuca root until it was soft and warm.
Rosa brought out a camping stove and she made a delicious sauce from milk, garlic, limes, and salt. And everyone, even the little mouse, got a hot plate of yuca root with milk sauce for supper that night. Take a look at that delicious yuca.
That's crazy, this story.
Thanks for reading with us, everybody. Bye now.